to Intercultural Communication. I'm your host, Matt Ahn. Today our topic on the show, we're going to be talking about the differences between American culture and Vietnamese culture. Now, to help us talk a little bit about that, joining us now, via satellite of course, is Tam Lee, who is an international student from Northampton Community College, majoring in Business Administration. Tam, thanks for joining our show today.
You're welcome, Matt. Thanks for having me today.
Alright, Tam, let's get down to business here. How many years have you been here in the United States?
I have been in the United States for 3 years.
Now, why did you choose to come to the United States?
I chose to come to the United States because I always wanted to come to the United States when I was young. And it would be a good opportunity for me to get jobs not only in the United States but also in my country if I have college degree in the United States. Besides, all of my mom's family lives in the United States.
Alright, well here's a language question for you. Now, what do you think of the different languages, Vietnamese and Vietnam, and English here in America? What are your thoughts on that?
Even though Vietnamese and English are two different languages, Vietnamese use the same alphabet as English. And we do have some common vocabulary such as hi, bye, internet, TV, and so on.
Now, do you feel that with the two different languages that there could be some communication barriers?
Yes, I do. When I first studied English, it was hard for me to remember some vocabulary, and also when I write in English, I just keep translating from Vietnamese, and sometimes it makes no sense in English at all. Moreover, some vocabulary I cannot pronounce at all, so it's hard for me to express my opinion or ideas or anything about myself.
Very interesting. Alright, here's another question for you. What are some Asian stereotypes that you have come across here in the United States?
Some of Asian stereotypes that I have crossed here in America, which are China doll, which means the Asian woman is supposedly sexually active, exotic, overly feminine, and eager to please. And the other stereotype, which is dragon lady, which means Asian woman who is perceived as seductive, desirable, but at the time she is untrustworthy.
Alright, now in your own words, how would you define culture?
A culture is a way of life of a group of people, their behaviors, beliefs, values, and symbols that they accept generally without thinking about them, and that are passed along by communication and imitation from one generation to the next. Culture contains traditions, food, clothes, and so on.
Now Tam, what are some American culture influences on you?
Some American culture influence on me are freedom, the way you look at freedom as a self-government, which means freedom to talk back to the elders, which I didn't do it before. In my culture, the younger should not talk back to the elder, even though whatever they say is completely wrong. When I came here, that culture influenced on me that one time I correct my grandmother when she said the wrong things. And another influence on me, which is open mind, which means that I look at problems or situations with all aspects instead of one aspect like I usually did before.
All right, with that said, what are some Vietnamese cultural influences on you?
Vietnamese culture influence on me, which I have that the way I look at marriage. Like in my culture, that when we marriage, that means like for long term, and we don't believe in divorce at all. Even though nowadays there's some couples they divorce, but still that's not majority. And the other influence I have that when I was young, when we have dinner, we gather around and have dinner together. We not like eat separately or at different time or do some different in during dinner time. That's the culture, like especially with the old-fashioned, like when I was young. And the other influence that from my culture, that's Lunar New Year. Like in my culture, we celebrate New Year twice. The regular one on January 1st, and the second one like around like the end of January and beginning of February. That's Lunar New Year. And in that period of time, we do some activities like we have dinner together, breakfast, and we wish good luck to everyone for New Year. And we also have like lucky money for little kids and stuff like that.
Now, Tam, is there any fast food chains that is widely popular here that is overseas in your home country of Vietnam?
Yes, in Vietnam we have KFC, and it's considered as a fast food in my country. Speaking of fast food in my country, there's some kind of like argument for the McDonald's, because back then in around like 1997, when McDonald's tried to get in my open business in my country, there's some politics involved. So they still process with the paperwork and some stuff with that. So that's why they didn't get in my country yet.
Alright, Tam, last question. When you first arrived here in America, what was your cultural shock? What was different to you here than Vietnam?
When I first arrived here in America, my culture shock was girls wearing low cut shirts, and like couples they kissing each other in a public. In my country, that's not appropriate action at all. So in my country, like girls only wear shirt like button up near like neck, or sometimes wear jacket covered. And a couple, they do not kissing, like they don't kiss like in public.
Alright, thank you much, Tam, for joining our show today.
No problem, my pleasure.
Well, that does it for our show today here. For this edition of Intercultural Communication, I'm Matt Ahn, signing off.